You're watching the 2020 SCAC Spring Media Days. Today we're taking a look at the Schreiner University men's and women's track and field programs. The Mountaineers will be led once again as they head into the season under head coach guidance of Kendall Lee, along with sophomore Xavier Enriquez and junior Kendall Lee on the men's and women's program. Coach Xavier, Kendall, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Coach, we'll get started with you. Just kind of take me through the biggest challenges of the start of a new season as you get prepared for a new year. How do you attack those challenges to make sure your team as ready as they can be once the season arrives?
I think one of the biggest challenges is, all of the newcomers, getting them acclimated to what college track is like, and I think getting them introduced to doing some different events, because some of them may not have done certain events in high school, and we're trying to maybe gear them towards different events here in college. So that's one of the biggest challenges. I think, trying to work with that is just getting different workouts set up for them, challenging them to do different things on the track, in the field, and then the other biggest challenge too is just figuring out practice schedules with classes. That's probably the biggest challenge, is trying to figure out what's the best practice time for everyone and trying to stay consistent with our practice habits.
Xavier, for you, you joined this team in your sophomore season as one of the sprinters on this group. Sort of take me through what preseason's been like as you've gotten prepared for this season. How's it been to be one of the new members on this team, and how excited are you to get things going?
As a new member, it's not really that hard. The atmosphere is really good. We're all friendly with each other, and preseason's been fun. Well, not really fun, just practicing. But it's been going good. I'm excited.
Kendall, as an upperclassman now in your junior season, you're one of 4 upperclassmen on this team. How have you maybe seen your role change a little bit this year in terms of a leadership perspective? Have you been embracing, being one of the leaders on this team as you enter a new season?
Yeah, I'd say I embrace being a leader because we have, like Coach said, we do have a bunch of newcomers and they're still getting used to track and everything. So I think it's important just to make sure that they feel comfortable and get ready for the season as well. Not worrying about myself, because of course that's important, that I do well in my season, but as well as my team, because we are, even though it's individual, running, it's still team overall, so.
Coach, I like what Kendall said there about sort of the team overall, and I want to know, when it comes to track and field, obviously you're trying to manage so many different individual skills and talents between, sprints, distance, hurdles, field events. It's a bunch of different unique skills that you then have to kind of bring together and get on the same page for that team mentality. How do you best cultivate that team atmosphere within your group?
That's a really good question. It's kind of a hard question to answer at times too, just because, like you said, they're all over the place in practice. One of the things we usually do is, we always warm up together. I think that's a great opportunity for them to spend some time unwinding from classes, kind of, they get the warm up done, but they also talk, they goof around, and that's their time to, get together with their teammates and relax a little bit. And then once warm up's done, they go their separate ways. I do try to, with the jumpers sometimes, they'll go work out with the sprinters. And so having them do some of the working out there, I think that's a good thing. I'm very big on encouraging them to, hang out with each other outside of practice time. And I don't know that I necessarily have to encourage that much. They kind of just do that on their own. And we go to practice and I hear about what they're doing. They hang out with each other, the night before, playing games or watching movies. So I think they actually kind of take that into their own hands. I would say, our leaders, our upperclassman Kendall, she does that a lot. Matthew Wilding, he does that a lot too. So I think some of the upperclassmen kind of take that under their guidance to try and continue to cultivate that team atmosphere and be more of a family rather than just a team.
Xavier, certainly being a sprinter, speed training is very important to you when it comes to getting prepared for a season, I'd imagine, but also, mixing in that strength training as well. Where do you find that balance? How have you sort of incorporated that balance as you've gotten prepared for a new season?
After practice or before practice, some days we use an app called Vote, and we use it 2 to 3 times a week, and it just depends on like your schedule really, when you can get the lift in. So I incorporate that into the workouts.
Kendall, for you, having gone through the season a year ago, competed at the SCAC championships, what did you learn over the course of last season as that unfolded that will kind of help you as you head into this year, junior year? How does that experience maybe translate into maybe some better confidence this season?
So I personally, this was like our first kind of big season since we are new to the program. And so I felt like last season it was more kind of getting used to actually going to meets regularly and like realizing that I needed to fix certain things. And so, oh my God, what's the word? Competing at conference like really helped like me see what I would be going against regularly and things like that. So that helped me prepare for this year. Like I know that I need to work on my form more, and that if I want to get faster and be better, that I have to like do longer distances and get like better with my own things before I can like help the team and them get better. So I'm pretty excited.
Coach, we've talked in the past about one of the things that I really enjoy about track and field is sort of the idea that there can be growth throughout the course of the season, that the first meet, maybe the expectations aren't that everyone's going to PR, but there is the opportunity to continue to grow and get better towards the end of championship season. What do you look for early on through these first couple of meets from your athletes that will give you confidence that growth and that possibility for growth can be there towards the end of the year?
Some of the things I, some of the things I look for is just honestly the development of their form. That first meet, if there's some issues with, if there's sprinters, if there's issues with blocks, working on that and just seeing, hopefully in that second meet, we've fixed some of those. So just seeing the progress in the technical aspects of all the events, but then also seeing too, how they persevere through some of those things. Like with some of the distance events, how are they doing? If they start to fall back a little bit, do they just give up or do they push through and do they continue to like run off the shoulder of the person in front of them? If they're hitting, if we have a race plan, are they following the race plan? And sometimes for some of our new people, the idea of having a race plan is new to them. So getting them to understand, having that race plan, putting that into effect, and having them follow that. And if they can follow that at the meets, that's going to help them grow as well.
And finally, to wrap things up with Xavier and Kendall, as you've had conversations with your teammates about some of the goals and expectations heading into this 2020 season, what have those conversations looked like, and what are some of your goals for your teams as you head into this new year?
So knowing that we are a new team, I think it's important that we just know that we have to go out and like try our best and like, yes, you're not always going to PR at every meet. Like, of course, that's what everybody wants. But as long as you, like Coach said, you show progress within your form or like the track meet plan, then I think that'll help a lot.
I think Kendall said it all, really. But as a team, I want to finish better than they did last year so we can show improvement. We have a lot of good freshmen incoming, a lot of new people that are going to be able to fill in more spots that they might have not had last year. So, yeah.
And Coach, finally to wrap things up with you, as you look ahead to this season, kind of this second full year with this team, and you continue to make strides with this program. This season is successful with what plays out on the track and field for you. What are you looking from both of these teams to continue to take the steps in the right direction as you build those programs there in Kerrville?
I think, the big thing kind of going off what Xavier said is just build off last year. I'd love to see the team, when we get to conference meet, I'd love to see them finish higher than they did last year. Maybe get some more points. I think, too, being able to have people in different event groups. Last year we didn't have as many people in some of the different events, and this year we're going to be able to fill up some more of those event groups. And I think that's a big thing. I think that'll really help us in terms of doing well in the conference and growing as a team. I think that'll look really good. And like I said, we are covering more bases this year in all the event groups. And even though we're still, a relatively small team, the fact that we're going to be able to have some different people in different event groups, I think that's gonna really help us out. And I know the people that were here last year are very excited for this year because they see, we can do better than we did last year. And I think the newcomers are just excited because it's their first college season, and they're ready to go.
Schreiner University men's and women's track and field programs. Again, the Mountaineers will be led once again as they head into the season by the head coach guidance of Kendall Lee, along with the leadership of sophomore Xavier Enriquez on the men's side and junior Kendall Lee on the women's side. Coach, Xavier, Kendall, thanks so much for joining us today, and best of luck as you head into the season.
Thank you.